Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful formula for making huge, life-changing transformations, all through the smallest, most manageable improvements you can imagine. To really get this, we've got to start with a story. It's about a man named Ken and how his entire world was turned upside down. In a good way, in just 6 short months. I mean, just look at this. 6 months ago, Ken's life was basically on the verge of collapse. His marriage was a wreck, his kids were a handful, his job was hanging by a thread, and his life was just one argument after another. But fast forward to today, it's like he's a different person, a great husband, a proud dad, a star employee. So the big question is, how in the world did he do it? Well, the answer, believe it or not, started to show itself on a totally normal Saturday morning at his son Jack's football game. So Ken's there, watching from the sidelines, and suddenly something just clicks. His son's team wasn't just playing, they were dominating. They were focused, they were working together, they were showing a level of skill he had never, ever seen from them. And this was the exact same team that got steamrolled almost every single game last year. You can imagine Ken's mind is racing, right? He's trying to figure out what could have possibly changed to cause this massive jump in performance. But when he looked closer, everything seemed to be exactly the same. Seriously, think about this puzzle for a second. The players, same kids from the neighborhood. The coach, same guy, Coach Jim. They were even playing against the same old rival teams. All the ingredients were identical, but the final dish was completely different. So after the game, Ken, totally baffled, goes right up to the coach and just asks him, what is going on? And that's when Coach Jim let him in on a powerful little secret. One he'd found by studying the most elite athletes on the entire planet. You see, the coach had gotten kind of obsessed with this one big question. What really separates the absolute best from everyone else? For him, the Olympics were the ultimate test, so he just dove headfirst into the numbers, looking for that tiny margin between winning and losing. And what he found was pretty mind-blowing. On average, the difference between getting a gold medal and coming in 4th place, the gap between eternal glory and going home with nothing, is just 1%. And you see this pattern just to pop up everywhere. In men's skiing, the gap between gold and 4th was less than 1%. In a chaotic speed skating relay where teams were literally falling on the ice, the difference was still under 3%. And get this, in a women's hurdles final, the time between 1st place and 7th place was a tiny 0.18 seconds. It's wild. But maybe the most legendary example of this whole idea in action has to be Michael Phelps's incredible 100-meter butterfly race at the Beijing Olympics. That was Phelps's margin of victory for the gold. 0.02%. I mean, let that sink in for a second. It's a difference so infinitesimally small, you literally can't see it. It is faster than you can blink your eye. And even if you look at the gap between Phelps and the guy who got 4th, the swimmer who missed the podium entirely, it was still just 1/3 of 1%. The line between being extraordinary and being exceptionally extraordinary is razor thin. So, this discovery completely changed how Coach Jim approached not just coaching, but, life. He moved away from the crushing pressure of having to be the best and latched onto a much more powerful idea. This really gets to the heart of it. The real goal isn't to become a world champion overnight. The goal is just to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And Coach Jim realized that the perfect motto for this philosophy has been hiding in plain sight for over 100 years, the original Olympic motto. Right, we've all heard these words before, but Coach Jim argued that most of us have been missing the true, empowering meaning behind them this whole time. And this little detail, it changes everything. The motto isn't fastest, highest, strongest. It's faster, higher, stronger. You see the difference? It's not a command to be the best in the world. It's a personal invitation to constantly improve, to always be pushing your own limits. This mindset totally reframes what it means to win. Take this incredible story from an Ironman triathlon. After more than 8 hours of brutal, grueling racing, the runner-up lost by a single second. And yet, he called it a career highlight. Why? Because for him, the victory was in the journey of pushing himself to be better than he'd ever been. Okay, so this is where it all comes together. This isn't just some nice philosophy for Olympians or a kid's football team. The 1% formula is a practical tool that we can apply to every single area of our own lives. And this strategy is a total game changer. Instead of trying to make one massive, intimidating, 100% improvement in one thing, the secret is to make hundreds of tiny, manageable, 1% improvements across the board. And this is exactly how Ken turned his life around. He didn't try to fix his marriage overnight. He just focused on being 1% a better listener. He didn't try to become the perfect dad instantly. He just aimed to be 1% more patient. At work, he looked for tiny ways to be 1% more efficient. And all those small, consistent efforts, they compounded. They stacked up over time to create that huge transformation we saw at the start. So, back at that football field, Coach Jim didn't just share a theory with Ken. He gave him an invitation to change his life. And really, that's the same invitation this whole story extends to all of us. It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? But actually answering it and then acting on it, well, that might just be the first step in completely transforming your career, your relationships, and your life. So where are you going to start?